startup is innovating in a taboo space of postpartum depression in women of color. Welcome, Sheila, Tandem community.
So my name is Sheila. I'm the CEO and founder of Tandem Community. It's an AI-driven platform for women of color and culture to solve postpartum depression and anxiety symptoms. This is a group of my friends. Maybe you can tell that we are all women of color. And in the United States, race is used as a core indicator of our healthcare behaviors and healthcare outcomes. But race is so much more than the color of our skin. It also determines our cultural values. And even though we've had very unique and diverse experiences, it's very rare that there's a healthcare solution that utilizes the sensitivities of our cultural experiences, even in the life stage of motherhood. And motherhood is driven by personal values. I have my master's in public health, and I'm also a second-time founder. And so I decided to dig into the data of what goes on with women of color's mental health outcomes. And I found out that there was a condition that impacts women of color at a 4 times greater rate, and they're only half as likely to be screened. And if they are diagnosed, they're only 25% as likely to go back to their second therapy appointment. On top of that, our system is not prepared to meet their needs, as only 14% of mental health clinicians identify as people of color. This condition is postpartum depression and anxiety, and it impacts 97% of moms of color. And even though we have 1,000,001 digital mental health solutions, we still have these very poor mental health outcomes. We are Tandem Community, the clinically effective, culturally competent solution. We send a text-based product to our users and send them down a clinical pathway that defines the best module for their cultural needs. Our users share their anxiety scales and the cultural values that matter most to them. And we share content to support their emotional needs, like journaling, content, and meditation. And the value of building something like this is that we need to be able to diagnose women of color more clearly, have better access to screening, and then have them stick to treatment, which is not useful in the current treatment models. Women of color are more educated and successful than at any other point in history. In the US alone, we have $2 trillion in spending power. And we expect our biological and cultural needs to be delivered through every aspect of our life. And in every major industry, there are venture-backed solutions being embraced to support women of color's needs, except in motherhood. In the US 2020 census, 60% of women identified themselves as women of color. And postpartum depression symptoms can begin in pregnancy and last all the way until 5 years postpartum. So we hope to take 3% of the market, resulting in 420,000 women, and a $500 million market share with a 3-year lifetime value. We are a digitally native solution. We will not be relying on telehealth because there are not enough mental health clinicians to meet the needs of all of the mental health issues going on. As we launch our MVP, we are going direct to consumer with a subscription-based model and also launching partnerships with employers. As we develop our clinical effectiveness, we will be able to partner with insurers as a value-based care tool in order to decrease the cost burden of postpartum depression on insurers, which is currently $63 billion lost annually for insurers in the US for untreated postpartum. There is a huge market landscape out there. There are digital health solutions for perinatal health, for mental health, and we're starting to see solutions that are AI-driven in mental health and solutions that are for women of color's health needs. But we are different. We are pulling all of those systems and that data set together to build the most comprehensive algorithms in the future. We've achieved a lot. We did FemTech Lab, did it successfully in 2 time zones across the other side of the world. I onboarded a team. We launched our pilot, and I also won a grant from Tiger Global Management. We're raising $300,000 in order to launch our MVP and onboard our first paying users. We are dedicated to women's health, and we've spent all of our careers dedicated to this topic of innovation. I'm a second-time founder. I have my master's in public health, and I specialized in women's mental health outcomes. And our clinical product lead is a clinical psychologist, and she is an expert in race and perinatal outcomes. And our UX lead is also an expert in delivering mobile-based solutions for women. Thank you so much, and I look forward to talking to you outside.
You don't have the test yet?
Yes, that's the pilot. Yeah. It went really well. Basically, so it was completely focused on postpartum, but what we figured out was the stages that women were participating and their retention to the product within those stages. So the MVP is actually going to be 4 different 12-week products based on those retention values so that we can keep them. So for instance, 3rd trimester, 4th trimester, returning to work, and later postpartum.
So will you be doing alpha tests again? Yeah. Is that what you want funding for?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How long before you get to beta?
I mean, everything will be a beta because we need to deliver that that data set, and the data set doesn't exist. So we would need about at least 5,000 users and at least 33 data points per person in order to start doing some analysis. But even within 8 weeks, we already have 75 pieces of data points per person.
Just one follow-up thing. I noticed you have 15 users. How are you going to get to that 5K?
Yeah, so I have been networking with mom groups all around the country, and they basically develop partnerships with tools like mine, and we onboard users. With those 15 users, we actually partnered with a mom group, and we had 90 users within 2 weeks who were interested.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, fantastic, Sheila. Really well done. Round of applause.